How to easily tell whether it was a demon or it was you. First, let's define a demon real simple. This story from today will simplify it to its very essence. The person that gave physical birth to my body offered me this really expensive shampoo today, and I simply said, oh no thanks, no way I'm putting all those 60 chemicals, because the ingredient list was huge, in my hair, thank you very much. This is because I thought that someone had given it to her for free somehow, and she was checking whether maybe I wanted it or not. A few seconds later, I realized that she had actually bought it for me, and I instantly felt extremely embarrassed, as if I should have faked a different reaction even though I wasn't going to actually ever use it. But someone will say, well, that's just being mean. But trust me, I did express how grateful I was for the gift. However, the core concept of a demon would be the idea of fragmentation. For a split second in my mind, two possibilities were created. We could almost say two personalities. One that is willing to almost use a shampoo that he feels uncomfortable using, even though clearly I should, just for the sake of avoiding a uncomfortable feeling or uncomfortable conversation, and the other one, more pure, more real, who doesn't choose really to have this reaction to extreme amount of chemicals in ingredient lists, and yet still it happens. The Oasis lyrics comes to mind. I gotta be myself, I can't be no one else. So as you might know, people have many faces nowadays on average, but that's the problem of demonic possession, is having options. You can choose, seemingly, across many versions of yourself. But did you know the etymology of the word deciding is actually to cut? Yes, it cuts your psyche into two or even more infinite pieces. To sort of explain the core concept of how to detect whether it was you or it wasn't you, you might be getting hints of the idea that there should never be two options. But I'm going to help you very much. An easy way to tell is if while you're doing something you have a specific reaction. For example, I used to struggle with pornography addiction, and while I was doing it I felt very excited and content, and then once I finished doing it, I felt like I was a different person, extremely guilty, shameful, and embarrassed, etc. This idea of two options within the psyche connects to the first example that I gave very nicely. There should never be two options. Now, out of those two options, the more real one, the one that more closely resembled my soul, even if it wasn't, was the one crying and feeling guilty. This, however, is also the demon, just the other side of it. The soul should observe neutrally and ask, if I had the actual choice, because we're pretty much choiceless in many senses in this reality, right? You didn't decide to be born, not that you remember. You didn't decide to forget your past lives, if you believe in that. There's a lot of things that you didn't decide. But hypothetically, if you could decide, and this is a way of getting rid of demons real easily, couldn't you potentially have created yourself without this disgusting instinct? For example, wouldn't you wish to wake up and be free of lust and not have this insatiable appetite for something that can never satisfy you? As I was saying those words, you must have already felt the answer. If closely to your heart the resonance was, of course, holy shit, that would be fucking amazing, then, my friend, the one who is sinning, we could say, sinning not with moral shame or anything in that regard, but rather straying slightly from your path, you can then rest assured that it isn't you, and therefore begin the exorcism. Say you did something mean when you were 6 years old, maybe stole something or just hit and punched a kid or something like this, right? I don't know. Now, could you go back today and do the same thing, maybe punch the same kid again or steal the same thing again? The answer, my friend, is potentially not, probably not. You instantly feel in your body like this rejection of the idea. So then, how the hell could you say convincingly that the one who did it before was you if you wouldn't fucking do it again? Like right now, in the only moment that exists, sorry to get all spiritual and new age, the only moment is the present moment. Yes, well, this is not a mental belief, it is an exact fact. So now you might be doing a lot of stupid shit and I know a lot about that. But if you sincerely feel in your heart that if you could create yourself good and have like these traits of addiction or some sort of whatever you're struggling with, and you can't mentally convince yourself that you want to have those things, if you're not at that stage, it's okay. I'm sure if you asked me, not really me, not really fucking me, when I was 21 years old and was heavily possessed and didn't have a soul, you can see this video right here and just look at my eyes, then I could have answered, hell yeah, I want to keep doing this, like, evil things and just watching porn all day, why not? So if you're at that stage, at least don't judge yourself even more, at least be open to receiving some sort of light that will change this. Even in that case, you're still not the demon, but your heavy identification with him or her. If you're a guy, it's a woman, by the way, it's a female spirit. You can see this phrase right here. I like shamanic phrases and quotes from the Gospel of Philip. Heavy identification will create a reality in which you are apparently the demon, and this is what the demon wants you to believe. But once the separation begins, it can never be stopped. So don't worry too much about it and just meditate as much as you can. Watch all my freaking videos. And I'll have a spiritual academy soon. For now, I only have a singing academy. How crazy is that? But in the spiritual academy, even though it's not there, I'm sure it'll be there in a month or two. At least one course, right? I'll help you even deeper. You know, there's some things that I can't say here on YouTube, not even in Rumble.